get behind you one day and say, like, waving
Yeah,
hi.
yeah, yeah.
But no. When you're ready, just
Do what when I'm ready?
put it up there. Just give her the cut.
Tell her.
No. Good afternoon, world. Hello. Thank you for joining me so much. This is Ann Kennard with the Power Hour for Movers and Shakers. And I have in studio with me today Dr. Umar Johnson. So whether you love him or you hate him, put your seatbelt on because you're getting ready to learn something today. So we've got a bunch of questions for Dr. Umar. He's got an event coming up. And we're going to start off with letting everyone know that the way to get in touch with us is calling the number 410-481-1010. Once again, that number is 410-481-1010. And we've got a little interesting thing going on in studio today. Dr. Umar is actually at the controls. So
yes,
if anybody
indeed.
Gets dropped off, it's not my fault. It's his fault. So Dr. Umar.
Yes, ma'am.
The first thing, talk to me a little bit about the Cosby conspiracy.
When I first heard, and first I want to give condolences to Cosby's wife, Vanessa, his 3 surviving daughters, his mother, his father, all of his friends and relatives. When I first heard the story, automatically when you deal with high-level celebrities, especially black ones, you can't help but entertain the possibility of foul play, because although we can get rich through the white power structure, we are not any of the shot callers of the white power structure. And with rich celebrities, black or white, so much due diligence is put in place to protect their life and safety. So when I heard that Cosby passed on a helicopter that fell out of the sky after being made to circle repeatedly for longer time than most people would consider to be acceptable and safe, I automatically thought foul play. And when you look at Cosby and what he has been doing with his life since he retired from the NBA, his life was anything but a standard, stereotypical post-basketball career for an NBA player. Cosby was investing in various companies, a DNA company. Okay, he was battling with a pharmaceutical company. He was building business partnerships with China, which probably made American corporate interests crawl. Cosby was getting involved in a lot of businesses that black people don't typically get involved in, and not at the top level. Given the amount of money that he had, his wealth, he was able to get into these ventures at the top and be a shot caller. So when you say who may have been involved in foul play, if there was foul play, because we don't have any absolute proof at this time, it's almost like a who's who, because Cosby's portfolio, his business portfolio, was so diversified that you can look at the NBA, you can look at the Rockefeller Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, you could look at other DNA companies, you could look at the pharmaceutical company that he was going to court with, but not only that one, other pharmaceutical companies. Cosby was getting into biotechnology. Black celebrities don't get involved in biotechnologies. Cosby was looking at building partnerships with businesses in China. It had been rumored that he was even attempting or planning to build his own professional basketball association that would have rivaled the NBA, which, as you know, is currently losing a lot of spectators. So that would have made the NBA skins crawl. I believe, without a question, it is my spirit that's telling me that this was foul play, and we will just have to wait and see. But the one thing I do want to say, this concept of a conspiracy theory, it makes my skin crawl, because what exactly is a conspiracy theory? I'll tell you what it is according to the white power structure and to politically uneducated Negroes. A conspiracy theory is any version of the truth that has not been officially endorsed and sanctioned by the American power structure. That's what it is. It's not truth. It's not evidence. It's not even falsehood. If you say anything that contradicts the official line of propaganda, the narrative that is being put out by America's corporate-owned media, then it's automatically a conspiracy theory, which is ironic because I think the United States government has had more conspiracy theories than anyone else has. I mean, they said that AIDS came from a monkey in the Congo. If that's not a conspiracy theory, they said that there was weapons of mass destruction in Afghanistan. If that's not a conspiracy theory, they said Jesus was white. If that's not a conspiracy theory, so who's really putting out the conspiracy theories? Is it Black America? Is it grassroots journalists? Or is it the white power structure itself?
Well, you know, the thing is, I didn't know Kobe was involved with as much. I thought Kobe was just basketball, and that was just it.
Kobe was a genius.
Wow.
Kobe was a genius.
Wow.
And the reason I had to, draw some suspicion towards the NBA is because of how they treated Kobe after he was accused of sexual impropriety. They only gave him one MVP despite 5 championships. They did not make him the face of the NBA as they should have. They immediately switched to LeBron, even though Kobe was clearly at the time still the better player. Kobe was dealt with very poorly by the NBA. And knowing Kobe, being an August 23rd baby, I'm an August 21st baby. Okay, I'm a Leo on the Virgo cusp. He's a Virgo on the Leo cusp. We're separated by a day in the middle. We like to prove people wrong. You understand? So whether it's me with my school, Kobe wanted to let the NBA know, I believe, that even though y'all did this to me, look what I'm about to do to y'all with this new Kobe Incorporated. Black Mamba. Kobe was coming at them Black Mamba style. And right now, for me, the leading potential suspect I have right now for me would be the NBA.
Wow.
Right now for me.
Well, would they stand to gain more money, you think, with him not being in the picture?
They couldn't afford him to start a rival professional basketball association while they are currently losing fans and spectators. The NBA's numbers are already down. The last thing we need is arguably the greatest basketball player of all time building a rival professional basketball league and then anchoring part of it in China, where Kobe is like a god in China. Remember, Kobe is one of the first Black professional athletes to seriously invest in China and try to build an international relationship with China. That made the NBA skins crawl. That made Wall Street skins crawl. That made all of the major corporations skin crawl, because who is America's current Cold War with? China.
China with the tariffs.
And you're going to let the greatest NBA player of all time build a working relationship potentially with the Chinese government? I don't think they were willing to wait it out and see what happens.
Wow, I had no idea. I just thought that he was going to accelerate women's basketball, because that was the thing. Because you remember, he was focusing on his daughter becoming a wonderful basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it's going to be very interesting to see how this thing plays out. Now, I got to ask you, I always like to get your thoughts on movies. Tell me what you thought about Just Mercy. I think another one was called Black and something else.
Black and Blue. Just Mercy was absolutely mind-blowing. In my opinion, right now, Bryan Stevenson might be the most relevant Black man in America.
Who was that? The guy that played?
He is the the star of the show who Michael B. Jordan played, the attorney.
Okay.
From Delaware, where FDMG is, from Delaware. And Bryan Stevenson has successfully gotten overturned at least 125 death row convictions.
Who is that? So that's the actual real attorney.
The real attorney. And there's a book to go with the movie.
Okay.
There's a book, Just Mercy, that I recommend people read. I did not read it, but a good friend of mine did read it. And for that brother to get at least 125, I believe it's more than that, but at least 125 death row convictions overturned, that's 125 people who are alive today.
Right. Because
of the work of this brother. So for me, what he has done is phenomenal. I mean, he's worthy of every award under the sun. He should be getting a BET award, NAACP Image Award. That what that man has done and continue to do is absolutely mind-blowing.
Hey, look, Radio 1, Kathy Hughes, this is her station. That's something that we should really think about, because I saw that. I fought back tears watching that movie.
Oh, I cried during the movie.
Did you?
I actually
I
cried.
got to sink it down a little bit. And the part that got me is the guy that was sick. He had the PSTD.
Yes.
And they killed him anyway.
And they killed him anyway.
Yeah. And the fact, really just didn't like the fact that the man that they had an affair with a white woman.
Yes.
That's what they hated.
Yes, that's what they hated.
And for that, they were ready to kill him.
And I did some research on death row. And in most states, black people are disproportionately murdered on death row and disproportionately sentenced to death row. So for me, any black person who does not support a moratorium on the death penalty is an enemy of the community. Wow. Because it's systematically being used against black people and poor black people. So how can you support the death penalty in a country where murdering black people is an American pastime?
Wow. I mean, it's mind-boggling, but the thing is, it's still happening because I think there's a prison down there that's a little messed up, and I'm not quite sure what's going on with that prison system. But the whole thing has got to be
it's absolutely
totally revamped. Queen and Slim, give me some thoughts on that.
What bothered me about Queen and Slim, I really believe Queen and Slim was a propaganda movie to kill the ambition of brothers and sisters in the hood who are actually considering a campaign to fight back against police genocide. Because the whole movie raises you up. They're getting away with it. They're getting away with it. She took the life of the police officer before he killed her man. A black woman defending a black man from police genocide. That is a powerful image. A black woman defending a black man from police genocide. They get away with it. They're going south or wherever they were going. They're getting away from it all. They almost made it. And at the very end, they get betrayed by a coon. The brother who drove them to the plane, they get betrayed by the coon. And then at the last minute, the police come out of nowhere. To me, that movie was about, symbolically and metaphorically, Assata Shakur. It was about Assata Shakur. It was a rendition. She broke out of prison. They didn't break out of prison, but they broke out of payment from the police. And Assata actually, they did not. And I really feel that the goal of the movie was to make black people think that if you ever even think that you'll get away with something like this, if you ever even think about fighting back against the police, what happened to them is the same thing that will happen to you. I think it was about crushing the spirit of black people who may have an idea of fighting back against police genocide.
And the interesting thing was there was a lot of white people that actually helped them along the way.
Exactly.
So now, Harriet.
The Harriet movie hurt me hard because Harriet is my number one shero.
Why?
Because her campaign to free black people was not about legal pressure. Harriet was a hands-on revolutionary. She didn't wait for Obama. She didn't wait for the next election. She didn't wait for Jesus. She didn't wait for black celebrities. Harriet said, I'm going to do what I can with what I am with my own two hands. And what hurt me about the Harriet Tubman documentary is I've waited so long for another one because I love the one that Cicely Tyson did a couple decades ago. That's still my favorite. Yes. But what bothered me with this one was that they added in black male characters who were beta males, who were not supportive of black women, and who did not actually exist in the historical record. The one slave tracker, the dark-skinned brother with the large eyes, the lead tracker, he didn't exist. But yet in the movie, he kills another black woman who was helping Harriet.
He was worse than the slave tracker.
He was worse than the slave tracker. And that was the movie. The point of the movie was to indoctrinate black women with the belief that black men have never protected y'all. Black men have never stood up for y'all. Black men have never marched with y'all. That the slave master was nicer, more benevolent to the black woman than even the black man was. That was a propaganda film. That was not about really telling you the historical narrative of Harriet Tubman. And I hurt that black feminists, I'm bothered that black feminists would use a Harriet Tubman movie as an opportunity to push their anti-black male campaign.
I had never thought about it in those terms. And I also thought that Harriet, and I know that you and I might disagree on this, I thought that she should have been played by I forget the woman's
Viola Davis. Oh, she would have been excellent.
Viola actually.
She would have been excellent.
She campaigned for that movie.
Did she?
Yeah.
Did she campaign for the role?
Yeah, she campaign for that. From what I hear.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she actually campained for that.
I did not know that.
But now I'm not saying that another.
No, it should have been her because she's up. First of all, she has more cachet. Yeah. She has more. She has awards behind her belt. She's at a higher level. You understand me? Yeah. She would have brought more viewers. It should have been Viola Davis. Hands down. I didn't know she wanted the role.
She wanted it. But the other lady, I mean, she was great. I got to take my hat off. A lot of the British actors, they're very well trained.
Right.
But there's a lot of them here.
Yeah. Here's my issue with the British actors. First of all, as a Pan-Africanist, it don't matter to me who plays Harriet if they have the spirit and the commitment to doing it. To play Harriet Tubman is not a job. To play Frederick Douglass, that's not a job. That's a calling. It got to be in your soul to do that. Now, it couldn't have been in that sister's soul because she's dating a white man or married to one. And I find it odd that many of these celebrities that they're choosing to play our ancestors are all married to non-Africans. The brother who played Dr. King in Selma, married to a non-African. James Earl Jones, when he played Jack Johnson, married to a non-African. It looks like they're systematically using people who don't have a buy-in to the legacy and works of these particular ancestors.
And you know what? In that movie, like Selma, it didn't really grab me the way it should have.
Because the lead actor wasn't committed to African people. He has a white woman. Maybe. And people will take issue with me that, see, here's the problem with that piece quickly. People say, why can't people marry who they want? And guess what? In a perfect world, and they can. In a perfect world, if you want a white woman, you can have one. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in an imperfect world where black people are in the back trying to catch up to the front. Our communities are being destroyed. Okay? We need to reconstruct Black America. You can't do that with a white woman. You can't do that with a Chinese woman. You can't do that with a Mexican woman. If you love your people, there's no way you can say people can marry who they want. If you love black people, then you absolutely cannot tolerate black men going outside of the community, because that is not in the best interest of African racial reconstruction in these United States.
Well, I mean, you know, I think we just mentioned it in the green room a few minutes ago. Kobe Bryant's wealth will now be going to...
transferred to another community.
It will be transferred. But she has black children.
Have black children.
So, and he also, in Philly, I believe his mom and dad, they're still alive.
Yes, Lower Marion.
That's right. They still live there. I don't know if they were estranged or not.
I believe, from what I read, it was mended. The relationship was mended after the birth of the first child. Okay,
so hopefully that will pick up. Now, one last movie, the Black and
Blue.
Yeah. What did
the Tyrese movie with Black and Blue, first of all, it got the least rotation of all the movies.
Yeah, it wasn't on long.
You know why?
I didn't see it, though.
Because it showed police brutality. It showed you exactly what they do and how they get away with it. And to be honest with you, that Black and Blue was arguably better than Queen and Slim. Arguably. They were both good, but arguably better than Queen and Slim. But it got almost no rotation because it was exposing police for who they really were.
You know what? The one thing I had a problem with Black and Blue, and I think you remember the scene, when they had all the police SWAT into the
apartment complex.
The apartment complex. You mean to tell me not one black lookout person would have come back and warned them?
Well, I thought they did. Some of them ran in.
But they. You
mean quicker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know how they all SWAT out? I mean, you know, you and I are from Philly.
Yes.
So some of those housing projects that were down in South Philly.
We would have got the word sooner.
You'd have got.
You might have not got in there.
No, you wouldn't.
You might have not got. The police might have not got
it to South Street.
Absolutely.
They would have saw you coming.
They would have saw you.
So how could they have gotten that close?
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
But then too, I don't know what time period. Well, the time period was pretty.
It was
recent.
current, pretty recent,
Yeah.
pretty recent.
So that part.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Good point. What bothered me the most about Black and Blue was the end of the movie. And that is when the sister, her life was saved by her white partner who originally sold her out. But then he came back and I think he shot the cop who tried to kill her.
Right.
Yes.
He got a conscience at the end of the movie.
That's what bothered me, because once again, it's this concept, this narrative of the redemption of the white races. You always see this in movies. The white races always gets redeemed. You even saw it in Nat Turner, Birth of a Nation, Nate Parker's movie. The white slave master's wife was
Yeah.
always partial to Nat.
Yeah.
But that did not exist in the historical record. So Nate Parker wrote in this benevolent white woman who even cried at the end when Nat was being hanged. And there's no record of that. But in all these movies where you show white people in their true form, they always have to end the movie with the redemption of white racism. Once again, selling to black people the belief that no matter how bad you've been treated, you can still change white people's attitudes towards you.
Wow. And that's the whole thing with racism.
That's the whole thing with
A lot of
racism.
people say, racism doesn't exist. That was a while ago
Right,
and all
right.
that, but it's
Or if
kind
it,
of hard.
or
to
if it does
explain
exist, we can redeem white folks. You see?
yeah.
Which for me, here's my 4 rules of racism really quick. And rule number 1, all white people are racist.
Uh-oh.
All white people are racist.
Okay.
There are no white people who are not.
I got
But let
one
me
right.
qualify that.
Go ahead.
Let me qualify that. That does not mean they hate black people. I want to be clear. I don't believe all white people hate black people. When I speak of racism, I'm talking about 2 things: privilege and power. Racism is not about hating anybody. It's about monopolizing the opportunities and the resources. That's it. That's it. So when I say all white people in Maryland, Virginia, and DC are racist, I'm simply saying that all white people in the DMV are interested in controlling, dictating, monopolizing resources and opportunities, dictating who can be successful, who not, dictating who's more likely to go to jail, who not, dictating who's more likely to get their MD and their MBA than who are not. It's about controlling outcomes. It's not about attitudes.
One of the things I noticed, they had a big march down in Virginia. What was it, last week or the week before? Okay, there was it was a gun rally.
Okay.
There was a gun rally in Virginia. And all of these white people, they happened to show up. And the thing is, they look so normal. You got to think those are the bankers. Those are the teachers that are teaching our kids. Those are the people that are giving you your loan or saying you can get it.
Absolutely.
Those are your repair people.
Absolutely.
Those are your stockbrokers. They might have put on the helmet and carried the guns, but they're going back. Those are the doctors.
Absolutely.
That was the sad part about it.
Absolutely. Racism is like a tree. It all has the same root. But when it grows, you see different branches and different colored flowers and different leaves, which will make you think that these are different plants, but they're not. When you dig up the ground, they're all rooted in that same essence. They're all rooted in that same reality. And black people are so politically immature that we think that when white people treat us well and respectfully, that means they're not racist. Once again, attitude has nothing to do with racism. You can be a racist bigot. You can be emotionally racist, right? But most racists are very mature, very reserved, very intelligent. You understand? They're not threatened by black folks at all. You understand? But they also recognize the need to protect privilege and opportunity for their in-group.
Which brings me to a question, and I know that you've got probably a perspective on it that I don't have. This whole impeachment thing. Marylanders, where we are today, there are a tremendous amount of Trump supporters. Oh. Now, today they're going to vote on impeachment.
Okay.
Or whether or not it should happen.
Okay.
Give me your gut feelings on that.
Well, number one, black people need to understand that impeachment is not removal from office. Impeachment is deciding whether or not there is enough suspicion here to justify a formal charge and investigation. So the impeachment is not the court proceeding. Impeachment is the proceeding to decide if there will be a court proceeding. You follow me? So if Donald Trump is impeached, impeachment, he's not removed from office if he's impeached. It just means it can now go to court, that there's enough evidence to suspect that wrongdoing was committed by the 45th president of the United States. And so we can now officially pursue charges and take this to trial.
Well, the interesting thing is they don't even want to call witnesses. They got Bolton that's actually from the Maryland area. That is mind-blowing to me.
I believe it's a distraction.
All right, why?
I believe the whole thing is a distraction
Okay.
because, number one, we live in a social network generation. Okay. The United States government employs a lot of psychologists, a lot of FBI employs hundreds of psychologists to study and to help them control social attitude and narrative. Black people are addicted, white people are addicted to social network. It's the new reality, right? So we love drama. The impeachment is drama. People are watching this for entertainment more so than for political impact, right? So if we can distract the American people from the real issues of joblessness, the real issues of a struggling economy, the real issues of a lack of opportunity, the real issues that there's no longer a middle class, that there's only the rich and the poor, the real issues that a lot of the corporations are being sold off to second and third world nations for cheaper labor. If we can distract the American public from the real issues with an impeachment, then let's do that. I believe this is a distraction from real issues that matter in this country.
Well, I'm going to make one quick statement about it, and that is, I love history, so I did a lot of studying and reading up on Stalin. And the makings of Stalin and Trump are so similar. It is mind-blowing.
Wow.
I just want to rest on that for a minute. Because we're limited on time, give me your feelings on this virus.
Well, most viruses are created by the Food and Drug Administration, the Rockefeller World Population Council. Nearly every virus. Some of them are used for genocide. Others are used to destabilize economies. I believe this coronavirus was dropped in China by the United States government, okay, to destabilize the Chinese economy. Remember, they had the bird flu before, okay? But because the Chinese people operate on the art of war psychology, they will never go public and say America threw this over here. They will just simply plot their own strategy of revenge.
Okay, so explain that. So you're saying the Chinese people operate on an art of war mentality, which means
you never let your enemy know what you're thinking.
Wow, that is one of the principles of the art of war.
Yes, deception is the essence of the art of war, right? So I believe America did it. But I would also tell you this. I wouldn't be surprised if China did it either, because China is overpopulated. And this could be a very quick, reduce the population strategy that the Chinese are throwing on their own people. My first thought is America. My second thought, China did it themselves.
Okay, so you don't think the pharmaceutical companies have anything to do with it?
Well, the pharmaceutical companies working for the United States government may very well have had something to do with it, because they would be the conduits.
Anything that you want to give people advice on protecting themselves in terms of this thing hitting us?
Not necessarily. I think black people need to be protected, period, because everything coming at us. Like the Chinese may have to deal with a coronavirus. We got to deal with a coronavirus. We got a Shaniqua virus they call Zika. We got AIDS virus. You know what I mean? We got viruses all day long. So we just need to be careful, period.
Yeah, definitely. You're having something that's coming up on schools.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about that for a bit.
The Black Parent Know Your School Rights National Training Tour. This is something I'm doing in 2020. I'm naming 2020 the year of the Black parent. And I'm going to go around the country training parents who want to be trained on how to protect their children from the miseducation machine and the mental health machine. So we're going to start off tomorrow in New Orleans, Louisiana. And all the trainings are the same day and same time. Saturday, 9 to 9, wherever they are. Saturday, 9 to 9. So tomorrow we'll be in New Orleans, Louisiana, training parents from 9 to 9. And then next Saturday we will be here, right here in the DMV for black parents in Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. who want to learn everything there is to learn about protecting their children.
What's the fee for that?
It's $50, and they register at DrUmarJohnson.com. Okay, they can register at the door, but I do not recommend it because there will be no paperwork for those who register at the door. They will get their paperwork, but they will get it later. They will not get paperwork the day of because we can't possibly make that much of extra paperwork not knowing who's going to show up or not. Right. So if you plan on coming, register now to make sure there's a training packet waiting for you because there's multiple documents. This is a very intense training, Sister, and we're going through the IEP, psychological evaluation, the psychological diagnosis, the ADHDs, the medicines, the vaccinations, the exemptions, the change of placement, the 504s, the independent evaluations, the approved private schools. We're literally getting into. We're making our parents expert advocates for their own children. And I'm only doing this one time. So if you don't go to one of these 13 locations, you will never get trained.
Are you doing the age group, like grade school to high school?
I'm doing the whole gamut.
Okay.
The whole gamut. Any parent who wants to come. And you don't have to be a parent. All you have to do is care about black folks. I really think everybody should be there because even if you don't have kids or your children are already grown, you want to learn how this situation operates so you can protect other parents when you run into them who are having issues.
Do you want to say anything to the thousands of educators that are probably listening to you right now, that are teachers across the country? Mm-hmm. Would you recommend that they also take?
I recommend that they come to the training because many of them don't know this information. A lot of educators don't know this information. I get calls from educators who say, hey, I didn't know that about the 504, the IEP. I didn't know that about autism. I didn't know that about how you qualify. So anybody who loves black children, because, you know, in our culture, all the children belong to all of us. They should all be at the training. And the training for the DMV will be next Saturday, February the 8th, 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. at the John Wesley AME Zion Church in Washington. And what's that address, Sister Ann?
That address is 1651 14th Street Northwest. Once again, it's at John Wesley AME Zion Church, and it's 1651 14th Street Northwest. Saturday, February the 8th, from 9 to 9. So this is going to be something really, really important. And you have a website that they can
DrUmarJohnson.com. And if they need to reach me about it, they want to text me for the flyer, they need the information, they can email me at DrUmarJohnson at yahoo.com, DrUMAR Johnson at yahoo.com. They can also text my personal cell phone at 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. And let me also say, Sister Ann, that let me run off the quick trainings. New Orleans is February 1st. Washington, D.C. is February the 8th. White Plains, New York is February the 29th. Oklahoma City is March the 21st. Los Angeles is March the 7th. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is June the 6th. Indianapolis, Indiana is August the 15th. Ocean Springs, Mississippi is April the 18th. Minneapolis, Minnesota looks like it's going to be June the 27th. Dallas, Texas is May the 2nd. Sanford, Florida is September the 5th. Chicago, Illinois is September the 15th. I'm probably leaving out one or two, but they're all on the website.
Hey, look, folks, I got to tell you, just in case you're not looking, he didn't read notes. He didn't read notes. He shot his stuff off from the top of his head. So I know that you're involved with the school now. What have some of your biggest challenges been so far?
My biggest challenges so far is reaching more parents, because as much ground as I've covered in these 20 years since I've been a school psychologist, I find that there's so much more ground that I have not covered, Sister Ann, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the tour, because there's still parents getting their kids tested for ADHD. There's still parents putting first and second graders in special ed for learning disabilities. There's still parents who think they can't do anything about a school's request for an ADHD evaluation. So even though I'm covering a lot of ground, there's a lot more ground I haven't covered, and I think part of it is people who are young parents today were only children 10 years ago. So they wouldn't have been tuning in to Dr. Umar 10 years ago because they was only 10. Now they're 20 with their own child, and they have a need to learn the information. So it's like every 10 years I get a new generation of parents, so I have to keep on teaching. But this is the first time I've done this tour, and I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm only doing it once because, God willing, next year we will have the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy.
I think I attended one, and there was a lot of information going on in there. I mean, it was kids, it was everything going on, and I really, really loved it. And I think my kids were a little bit smaller, but I'm going to look forward going to this one. Tell me what some of the opposition you run up against.
Opposition,
and
honestly.
I'm gonna just walk behind you. I know people can't
Yes, ma'am.
see me.
Yes, ma'am. Let them come see you, Sister
calls.
Ann. Let them come see you, Sister Ann. I would say the opposition has largely been social media. I don't really get any real world opposition too much. You know, white folks don't really bother me too much because they know I know my stuff, and I don't think they want to challenge me on it. You just get a lot of jealous Negroes, you know, who envy me for my position within Black consciousness. They envy me for my position within the Pan-African movement worldwide. And so that's really been the only opposition. People working behind the scenes trying to sabotage my work. I have a group of social network manure flies who constantly, Sister Ann, they call every venue to try to get them canceled. Everyone. They've been doing this for 5 years. One of them is a wannabe pastor without a church and without a congregation.
I wouldn't even give them the air.
Don't even give them the air.
Yeah, I wouldn't give. So, Dr. Umar, your boards. Look, I should say my boards.
Oh, okay. When they flashed at me, I didn't know that. I thought. I'm sorry. I thought it was only one. So let me go,
folks.
Line 1, you are live with Sister Ann and Dr. Umar.
And it's Jean.
Peace and love. I'm sorry, I didn't know the flashing was...
The whole board is lit up over here.
Can they see you? Did you look in this one too, Sister Ann?
Yes. Uh, 410-888-9311.
Thank you very much. I'm recording this. And so, Brother Umar.
Yes.
Tupac Shakur, was he on a similar trajectory as Kobe?
Tupac was more political. I think Kobe rubbed the power structure the wrong way by his economic investments. Tupac Shakur was a threat because of his intent to socially organize the black underclass.
The other thing too is H. Brown. I have never heard anybody closer in their philosophy than you to Brother Jamil Abdullah.
In fact, it's amazing you mention that, brother, because he's one of the last leaders who we still have with us from the Black Power generation. And I believe he's in prison out in the Midwest. They keep moving him further and further away. It is my intent to go visit the elder. And I'm glad you brought this up because I've been meaning to get in contact with Sister Pan-Africa to find out exactly what prison he's in and what methods and means I need to take to go visit him. I think it's important for me, being one of the young leaders of this generation, to definitely connect with him, because when I look at him, if you were to say, Dr. Umar, who's somebody you most resemble, it might even be Jamil Al-Amin, or I'm going to give it the name he was, H. Rap Brown. I may be more of an H. Rap Brown even before a Malcolm. Malcolm was strong, but Malcolm was within a nation and they really didn't get involved in political work. You see, H. Rap Brown was involved knee deep in the political work right next to Stokely. You follow me? So he's a big hero of mine, and I would be very, very disappointed in myself if I don't get to meet that brother while he's still with us in the flesh.
Well,
Another thing too is I'm editing a couple of descriptions for Black History from the Africana Magazine News, and that's on Anchor.fm. Brother,
We got to get ready to run, my brother. You feel free to hit me though. Feel free to hit me. Thank you. Love you too, black man.
You know what? We gotta hit. I hit you up on Mumia. You know, that's one of my favorite people. Mumia. Is
Absolutely. Mumia is still kicking.
Yeah.
Sister Pam, God bless her. She's still fighting to get him out. We still
Okay.
supporting that whole movement. But
Okay.
he's still kicking. You know, they reduced his sentence from death to life.
Okay.
Which was really a ploy. It was
Yes.
not a mercy.
We're
We'll be with
here.
you in a second.
Yeah.
It was really a ploy, not a mercy, because
Okay.
having him on death row brought too much resistance. International. So they say, let's step it down, and maybe that'll push back against the resistance.
Right.
It was a strategy.
Okay.
You are live with Sister Ann and Dr. Umar. Go right ahead.
hi, this is Byron. How your good people doing?
Good. We
Peace
got
and love, brother.
We got less than a minute and a whole board we've ignored.
Okay, this show is on fire. The one thing about Kobe Brown is hit on the nose. He speaks 3 languages. He's a brilliant brother.
Brilliant.
Him starting out at 17. Before, like, people don't understand, like I tell black people, they are willing to kill us for our greatness. That's if it's acceptable to them. We think that minorities, we gonna have more numbers than them, that we gonna control stuff. No, you control justice, media, and industry. You control everything. You don't have to have a large number. And another thing, I think they did the same thing they did to Reginald Lewis. I think they killed him. This brother owned a lot of companies that white folks didn't want to go bankrupt. And
You think so?
He's around, and he also got business from people that didn't even know he was black.
That's right, black man.
You know, and a lot of times they'll do that to us. He was only 50-something years old. He wasn't no old dude. And he turned those companies around, you know. But,
Yeah, but he married. Didn't he marry? Is that Fugit married an Asian woman? Didn't he?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did.
I'm not sure.
Beatrice Foods. Is that
Beatrice
what you're
Foods.
talking-
I didn't know he married an Asian woman.
I think he did. She opened up a black museum, but you know that money went back into
it
that
went to
community.
another community.
Yep.
Thank you for that call, my brother.
can I squeeze this in?
Sure.
We suffer from the Stockholm syndrome.
Yes, we do.
And you try to tell black folks that you gotta realize that you know, like I call one station about Black History Month, and I told you to download Black People Invented Everything. We invented over 200 something.
Yes, we did, brother. Yes, we did. Thank you for that call. We're going to move on. The boards is lit up, my brother, but we appreciate you.
One more time, Black People Invented Everything. Everybody on the internet.
Got you. Appreciate you, black man. You are live with Sister Ann and Dr. Umar. Who we speaking with?
This is definitely Charles.
Brother Charles, what's on your mind today, black man?
Well, the song says back to reality, back to life. I was looking at this movie called Harriet, and it is a total fabrication.
which they didn't even put her on. You know, they delayed that whole Harriet Tubman on the front of the 20, which they still would have had the most racist president of all, Andrew Jackson, on the back of the 20. So I didn't understand. But that was more about feminism than it was about honoring black people and the black struggle. That was about feminism. The feminists thought that Harriet Tubman was a more acceptable universal figure to push. That's why they pushed it.
Well, I think it's more about tokenism, because they keep giving us all these tokens and they don't give us the truth. When do we learn about what we really did?
Well,
We tell our own story. Why do we keep rehashing what they say?
I agree with you, my brother. We need our own narrative. We absolutely need our own narrative. I want to thank you for that call, my brother. The boards are lighting up, so we're going to keep on pulling. Peace and Black Power. You are live with Sister Ann and Dr. Umar, who we're speaking with. Brother Ernest, what's on your mind today, Baba?
Doctor, do you know who Dr. Ross McNutt is?
I do not.
Perpetrating a fraud in Baltimore City, Eye in the Sky. It's a surveillance program that black people jumped on and paid a couple black people sponsored by John and Laurel Arnold. Billionaires funding a surveillance project above Baltimore. And this is being pushed by black people. Dr. Ross McNutt was in the Air Force, and he was in Iraq and Afghanistan. And these spy planes, surveillance planes, flying over Iraq and Afghanistan. He said to get rid of those bombs. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So I think your question would be, what is Dr. Umar's feelings on having a surveillance system? I think they were already here anyway.
They were already here.
Yeah.
Black
so-
community could use their own, though.
Yeah. Maybe with the form of in-house policing.
Surveillance came after Freddie Gray. He flew around in here for 16 months, I think, without even telling anybody. But he's unable to fly anywhere in the United States.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for that, my brother. We're going to look into that. I'm going to look into that. I love Baltimore. I'm going to look into that, my brother. Thank you for that call.
Check it out today. We'll be on 1010 later on. He has about 2 or 3 shows.
Will do.
1010. Listen later on today and give a...
Got you. Thank you for that, Baba. One love. You're live with Sister Ann and Dr. UmarJohnson. She got me over here learning the boards, y'all. This is Sister Ann. I never did this before.
And he's
First
doing
time.
good. And he's
First
doing
time.
good.
I never worked the boards
And
at the
he's
radio
doing
show
good.
before.
He's doing good, because I didn't want nothing to do with it. I knew the boards are going to be lit up.
Peace and love. Who's on the line with us today?
Thank you.
I'm glad, man, to see that more Law 45 is guilty. That's number one. So,
Yeah.
and this Congress, with 100 women that we were smart enough to elect, has put out more than 400 bills on Mitch McConnell's desk, including gun safety, including prescription drugs and all that kind of stuff. So we're doing both, you know, and racism, man. Racism is about what you said, but it's also about hatred, too. You know, matter of fact, most of the Trump voters, that's all they got. Is their hatred. They don't have any.
Yeah, but they don't think they're hating. They don't think they hate. I talk with a bunch of them. They don't think it's about hate. They think that he was ordained by God to be here.
I know, but we know it is. But my question is, Malcolm and Martin. You know, when Malcolm came back from Mecca, one thing he said is black people shouldn't be choked. And we know how Martin felt. But you know, what would they today? You know, we know in Baltimore that we had the most murders ever. You know, mostly us killing us. And y'all, I was out in the streets the other day. We was out there with a young man that got killed across the street from the church, and we were talking to a young man, and he said that he's tired. He said, Lord, we gave him job information and help. We prayed for him. And he said he lost 10 friends to murder. What would they expect today? Because even if they were here, the crack addiction would have hit on top of the heroin addiction. We would still have the chaos that we have in the community. What would they be doing today, Dr. Johnson, to turn this around, you think?
Well, all right. Thank you for that call, my brother. I would say, first of all, we got to recognize the influence that the black bourgeoisie has over the lack of progress in black America. We have so many educated black people, politicians, preachers, community leaders, and business persons whose value system and mindset are totally in alignment with the white power structure. Our biggest issue is that we have to fight the gatekeepers before we can even get to the white power structure. The black gatekeepers are the guard dogs for the white power structure. And until we admit that there's gatekeepers in the community that we're going to need to remove, we will never be able to defeat white supremacy if we don't recognize the gatekeepers that are protecting it, members of our own community. And the reason those gatekeepers stay there, Sister Ann, is because most of us have personal relationships with them. They're our aunts, our cousins, the queen mother of the neighborhood. So we don't feel comfortable exposing them because we have a personal connection to them. And that's why the gatekeepers continue to thrive. Peace, family. You are live with Sister Ann and Dr. Umar Johnson. Who are we speaking with?
Diane, how you doing?
Sister Diane, welcome. What's on your mind, Queen?
I love you. I had to say that. God, you know.
Sister Ann put the battery in my back today. She got me working the boards, y'all.
You're doing a good job, though, and the information that you precise to us was so much. I mean, Sister Ann, you need 2 hours, honey.
Yes, indeed. We need 2 hours.
It's a whole lot of information that Dr. Omar, you have given us. I mean, just in a little less time, you gave us so much information. Now we got to assimilate to other people in our communities. And that just called because I've read Bernice King's book, Hard Questions, Hard Answers.
Oh.
She said exactly what you just said to that man about, you know, the bourgeoisie. And she said, the professional, you won't give up. You're a professional because the pay that you get and you take home. So you won't say, like you just said, you won't cross those lines where white people say you're wrong. But you want to, because you want to keep your job and the money that you're making. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Queen Mother. Appreciate those words. And if you have some time, come on out next Saturday, February the 8th, to the John Wesley AME Zion Church, where I'm going to be conducting the National Black Parent Know Your School Rights Training from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We understand some people have to leave early. That's totally up to you guys. But I'm committed to being there the entire 12 hours to make sure I give out all the information. That's what my ancestors require of me. And you can register at DrUmarJohnson.com. Thank you, Queen. Peace and love, family. You are live with Sister Ann and Dr. Umar Johnson. Who are we speaking with?
Dr. Umar, I love the knowledge, the wisdom, and everything. We definitely need that.
Appreciate you. Make sure you say hello to Sister Ann as well. She's the one in charge. She's the producer.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
I was born and raised in Baltimore, but all my life has been nowhere, so I see a lot and know a lot. And the biggest thing is knowing that this is not our country. We are here like middle class people, and I accept that. So what we got to do is respect each other and do our own thing and have people waiting in line to take our place. Because I remember, behind Dr. Psy.D, and I know you heard of Dr. Psy.D, Ron Brown, Washington, and Bill Cosby, all our educators, all our people that are trying to do the right thing, they end up disappearing. And I can't think of that sign that they have on the building. It's like a black hand with the different signs. I can't think of it.
Lord, let me stop you for 2 seconds because I know that Dr. Umar has a very a fascinating opinion or theory about Bill Cosby. And
Yes.
Can you interject that?
Yes, I believe Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, my North Philadelphia brother, I believe he was incarcerated not because of any sex crimes, but because him and his wife, Camille, are members of a community in Massachusetts who own a piece of land under which it is believed to be a sizable amount of oil. And in addition to that, they need that land, access to that land. They want to drill on the Cosby estate to build a pipeline, one of the largest pipelines in North America. But in order to get it done, they have to go under his home. And Bill and Camille have resisted that operation, along with the other families in the area. But of course, they're the most prominent ones. And I believe this was an effort to financially bankrupt the Cosby family, to bankrupt his estate, so they would be forced to sell that home so the oil company would be able to dig under their ground.
Lord, thank you. Dr. Umar, probably have to go to the next caller.
Well, lastly, one last thing.
Okay.
Yeah, last thing. I'm hoping that the churches will all come us what we need to do further on down the road.
Thank you, my brother. Peace and black power. And also, don't forget, brothers and sisters, you got to donate to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. We're trying to get the small building fixed up. Get on your Cash App, $FDMG School. I repeat, on your Cash App, $FDMG School. If you want to mail in your donation, make it out to FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware. That's P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. Yesterday, Sister Ann, I had to send off a real estate tax, property tax check to Newcastle County.
Dang, I can imagine.
$20,000.
Oh, yeah.
So when I say we need y'all donations, y'all got to make y'all donations
I
because
thought that was a cheap state.
Oh, my.
The taxes were cheap in Delaware.
Oh man,
Not
we
20 G's,
we owe 150 county tax and like 60 for the city tax.
Wow, that's before
Because we didn't get the not-for-profit exemption, which I only had 2 weeks to get after I bought the school, and the attorney who did my closing didn't tell me I had a 14-day limit.
They got you on
They
that
got
one.
me.
They
They
got
got
you.
me. Yes,
Well,
indeed.
we're trying to get these.
We're going to get these last couple callers in. We got a few more minutes in the hour of power with
We're
Sister
gonna
Ann and
stand
Dr.
For
Umar.
a couple minutes after 1, but go ahead, call.
Who's live with us today?
Hey, this is me. It's Bob.
How you doing, Bob?
Hey, great. Umar,
Yes, sir.
a few things I want to say, and then you can comment afterwards. First of all, you're going to be in Dallas. Are you coming to Houston?
I will be in Dallas on May 2nd. The Dallas training is for the entire state of Texas. So that's for Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. Everyone must come to Dallas to get the training. Now, I'll probably be coming to Houston for a lecture at some point in the future, but I don't have that scheduled right now. The only thing scheduled right now is the May 2nd Texas training in Dallas.
Okay, I need to work with you and get you in Houston.
Let's do it. You have my number?
Yeah, I got your number. I'm going to contact you on that. Okay, the other thing is, reference to your mention about Kobe Bryant at the top of the conversation. You know, Kobe was worth about $800 million.
Yes, he was.
And he actually started making more money
After basketball. Yes.
in basketball.
Yes.
Now, one thing I want to mention to everybody about basketball is that basketball is ran by the Jews. If you notice,
Goodness.
we will not have an
Excuse me,
NBA
2 seconds. I got a message. Excuse me for 2 seconds. Engineer, the viewer said they can't hear the callers. If you could turn the volume up. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm saying is that the NBA is ran by Jews. And if you notice, the NBA will never have a commission unless it's a Jewish commission. Even the Harlem Globetrotters was started by Jews. All right. So Jews, we got to stop referring to these people as white supremacists. They're not white supremacists. They're parasites. They feed off the black community, the African Americans. Jews have done it. Whites have done it. Mississippi. And
All right.
I want to hear you comment on the situation in Mississippi with Parchment Prison, on how these parasites enslave black Americans in prison and feed off of them.
Absolutely. Thank you for that call, my brother. And to the prison situation, what I would say is that we as black people have allowed the prison system to grow out of control, to absolutely grow out of control. Are you aware, Sister Ann, that there's not a single state in America, not one out of 50, where the black incarceration rate is not at least twice its population rate? So, for example, in Pennsylvania, we're 10% of the population. We're 50% of the prisoners. There's not a state in America where our share of the population is not at least twice that inside the prison system. We have let this thing get out of hand.
So what is the root thing? I know
Economics.
I know you wrote that book,
Mhm.
School to Prison Pipeline. We
Right.
could be here a whole nother hour.
Yeah.
We did need 2 hours.
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, but what is it? Is it the opioid addiction?
No,
Or what-
because the opioid addiction is black people as well. Don't get me wrong. But they're really catering to the whites with the opioid addiction. For example, in psychology, many of the states are now changing the psychology regulation that if you're a psychologist, part of your continuing education credits must be at least a credit or 2 in opioid addiction and treatment. So contrast the compassion that the government has for the opioid user with the condemnation that they have for the crack addict. Look how they treated us like criminals, but the white opioid addicts are being treated like angels.
Wow. You know what? I got to get you to say one thing to all the black men and boys that are listening, not to give up hope.
Don't give up
Because
hope.
When you are faced with so much,
Mhm.
the drugs,
Yes.
the hopelessness,
Yes.
the police brutality,
Yes.
what do they really have to lean
The
on to?
heaviest rain comes just before the sunshine. I believe this is our decade. I absolutely believe this is our decade. I believe 2020, that is perfect synchronicity. This is when God is going to bring back Black America to full circle, Sister Ann. But we got to do the work, though. We can't sit by passively. We got to do the work, but the universe will help us.
Thank you. Dr. Umar?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, put you to work today.
Absolutely. Oh, I enjoyed it. I love this. I love this.
So that means I'm going to be
You gave me a new job. That means more haters. More haters. They're going to critique what I did today.
More haters. Well, we're asking the churches to
More
get
love.
involved.
Yes, indeed.
If we can you run down what you're doing this week again?
Yes, indeed. Saturday, February the 8th, 1 week from tomorrow. Everybody needs to be there. If you live in Maryland, Virginia, D.C., it is the National Black Parent Training Tour. Training in D.C., John Wesley AME Zion Church. Make sure you're there. Get your tickets at DrUmarJohnson.com. Children are no extra charge, but I don't recommend you bring them because 12 hours will be too long for your babies to stay focused.
Dr. Umar, I cannot say enough about the work you're doing.
Thank
I'm
you,
going to give
Queen.
my on-air hug. And
Yes,
guess
ma'am.
what?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Come get your on-here hug.
That's right. All right. Thank you. All right. Until next time, Baltimore, I'm going to get him back in this seat again, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay.
Peace and Black power.